Hi, everyone, and welcome to First Things First. I'm Jen Wolf. That's the Hall of Famer, Cris Carter. This is Nick Wright. Hump day.
Man, I'm feeling so much better today.
Yeah?
Yesterday, I was so upset starting the show.
Why?
People that watch the show, the Kevin Durant thing had me. It had me upset, had me in a tizzy, but I went out and played some golf with my good friend Gus Johnson, friend of Fox. And everything he says was, hello, Jenna.
Oh.
He knows you from the past.
Yes.
So I'm ready
Detroit,
today.
stand up. Gus Johnson in the building. I told you, Jenna Wolf.
He did.
I told you this
in
morning.
the morning meeting,
The morning
he said,
meeting,
CC
there was a
was in a
question.
bad
I'm going to
mood
tell you real quick.
yesterday.
There was a question on the thing. She was like, I don't know if Chris going to like this. I was like, man, Chris was grouchy yesterday. He was upset Durant got hurt. He's going to be fine today.
All right.
So there we go.
So, unfortunately,
good to
you're
have you
still
back,
hurt,
brother.
but you're over the initial impact
It was
of the
shocking.
injury.
Did they do something new with your toupee?
Okay, here we go. Big Wednesday
I'm gonna
show
fight
for you today. Nick's hair, C's hair, my hair. The USA women's team still scoring World Cup goals right now in France. The Knicks might have to make some new plans this offseason. We'll tell you why, but we got to start with the NBA Finals. Kevin Durant made his return Monday night, but that ended quickly. He went down with what Warriors general manager Bob Myers called an Achilles injury. No official word on if it is, in fact, that. Durant reportedly traveled to New York for further testing and evaluation. And according to Chris Haynes, KD was nowhere close to 100% before taking the court for Game 5 on Monday. CC, did the Warriors make a mistake clearing KD to play, do you think?
Of course they did. Of course, whatever doctor, because we're a results-oriented business. So they might even have things to be able to back up what they said. But the end result was the first competition, the first time he goes onto a court, first time he sees live action, he blows out his Achilles. So there's no way that they can feel. Forget about the public. You saw Bob Myers. Bob Myers runs their basketball operation. Do you know, before the Warriors, do you know how many great players Bob Myers, that he had control of their career in the palm of his hands? Like, so that he's used to be able to make decisions like this that would benefit his client. Now he's working for the Warriors. And they, word around the NBA, they run things as good or better than anyone else. He's a stand-up guy. People trust him. But when you are talking about an athlete and one of the best at what they do, and you get the type of injury that he had on Monday, you have to be able to question it. Golden State's not sitting around today saying, you know something, we did the right thing. Well, if they were doing the right thing, why Bob Myers crying? Right? Because when you do the right thing, you have a conviction to what you did. You also have a bunch of information. And they cannot tell me, you know something? We put Kevin Durant out there 5 straight practices. His body responded perfectly. We put Kevin Durant in situations in practice on the court when we stressed out his calf, his lower extremities, and it worked out perfectly. No. First competition, he blows out his Achilles. So I know in dealing with calf injuries and dealing with a couple great team doctors, Dr. Fisher, who was original doctor for the Dream Team. He was my team doctor for the Vikings, and I used to look him straight in his face and tell him, as soon as you get the x-ray or MRI, I want you to send it to Harlan Selznick, the Miami Heat's doctor, because I lived in Florida, and he was my personal doctor for 15 years. So I was always getting a second opinion. Sprained ankle, headache, anything, I was getting a second opinion so I could understand the day after the regret of everything. And you have to go back on everything I looked at, how his body was responding, and did I give him the right amount of practice time before I put him into a game?
And ask the very pragmatic and honest question of, if we weren't down 3-1, would he have played? Would we have cleared him? Was it situational because of the team's need versus situational to Kevin Durant's need?
I said, leading into game number 4, Toronto needs to win this game, and they're going to force Kevin Durant onto the court.
And there's another thing you said that I think debunks a bit some of the commentary afterwards, which was, this is tragic, this is awful, but no one could have seen this coming. Cris Carter saw this coming. And there's an interesting debate going on in the NBA world. Jalen Rose got it going with a New Yorker interview about the overimportance front offices are putting on, if I may, guys like me, guys that consider themselves smart guys, analytics guys who didn't play, and the lack of importance front offices are relying on guys like Cris, guys that actually have been in it. And you see my pal Daryl Morey and a lot of front offices that I think are smart. Some people find them problematic in the way they do not lean on the expertise of having played the game. And this, to me, was a very real instance of, man, there is no formula and there are no numbers for me to understand what your body feels like when you have a torn calf, where the pressure points are. And the day after this happened, Cris said for 30 straight days, till KD came back on the court, I don't think he's going to play in the finals. Why? Because he could blow his Achilles. That was the day before, the day of the game. I brought up the reports in The Athletic that there were teammates, seemingly, people within the organization questioning how hard KD was trying to come back.
And it upset me.
And Cris got angry and impassioned and said it'd be nonsense. If he comes back too early, everything is in jeopardy because you can stress the Achilles and pop it, not restrain the calf, not have a setback. You can blow your Achilles. And then it happened. And so if Cris from 3,000 miles away from Oakland could see that this was on the board, of course it's the team doctors and Durant and Steve Kerr and everyone whose job it is to know what's on the board. But where I feel badly is Kevin Durant was in a trick bag on this one when he got hurt. Because if he never comes back and they win, then guys like me, who we know he listens to and cares about, get to say, told you he was a luxury, not a necessity. And that burns him. And if he never comes back and they lose, all of a sudden he's boxed in because he's reading the same articles we are that, wait, we got guys on the team thinking I'm dogging it, thinking I don't care. So his only solution was, what if I just come back and win? What if I come back and play great, answer all those questions? But that solution came with enormous risk. And we saw that play out in real time Monday night.
I wish Kevin Durant, and I know he's got great people around him, but a little over a year ago, we had one of our best basketball players in a situation where he said he couldn't play, and the organization said he could play. There was only two people, and Kawhi Leonard, and that's his uncle, his business advisor, and Cris Carter are the only two people that said he's doing the right thing. Now look at Kawhi. Kawhi made it through the regular season, but look at the decision he made last year. I'm not going out there because my body does not feel right. He got criticized, and then we get Kevin Durant. Of all the top 5 players we have, none is less appreciated, none is more scrutinized from a negative standpoint than Kevin Durant. And he forced himself out there because of all those voices.
You really think he succumbed to the external pressure, the pressure from the team, from the Twitter sphere?
Oh, I think it absolutely played a part. I think what we know about Kevin Durant, sorry to interrupt you, Jenna, but what we know about Kevin Durant is he hears everything and it affects him. He is a sensitive guy, and that's not a judgment. I mean, people call me sensitive. Like, there's a lot, but a guy that cares about what random anonymous people on Twitter are saying about a decision he made a couple years ago, you don't think he cares about, on one side, teammates whispering how hard is he trying, and on the other side, people on television saying he's not that important?
So you think that factored into his return?
This is what I think is the #1 factor. Every athlete that I know would have tried to get back out there. I'm just saying I wish he had people that can speak into you, that you listen to their voice. They help you make these tough decisions. I'm not trying to say I know all, see all, but I've torn both my calves. And when I used to sit down with the doctor, I used to let him know, are you going to be responsible if I go back out there and tear my Achilles? He used to tell me, no, I'm not going to be responsible. Well, okay, I'm going to go back out there when I feel like it, when my body feels like that I can do it. So I'm not going to blame them, but I asked Bob Myers this question today. If you weren't in your job that you are in now, and you were in your former job, and Kevin Durant is your client, and they are in game #4, what do you tell Kevin Durant? And I'm going to tell you, if Bob Myers is a truth teller, like I think he is, he looks into the camera and say, I'm so sorry, because if he was my client, I wouldn't have had him out there. We got agents calling us from around the league, Nick and I, and that's what they're upset about. You know how much money Kevin Durant lost with his Achilles? How much, Nick?
I mean, I was told yesterday they think it's in 9 figures, not in NBA money. He'll get the max contract anyway. But I got a call yesterday that said the exact same thing, which was, why did his representation let him make this decision? And I understand, ultimately, your representation works for you, and you can tell them to zip it and go out there on your own. But the number of companies that were waiting for Kevin Durant, ostensibly, to come to New York City
and play next season.
Now, listen, you'll still be in Nike and all these things.
But you won't be on the court.
But you're not going to be on the court. And companies that wanted to build an endorsement campaign around you as a Knick, it's at least temporarily delayed, and now it's in jeopardy. It's a 9-figure potential haircut for Kevin Durant.
And the other superstar besides Kawhi Leonard made a decision, because, Jenna, you were like, man, why isn't LeBron back yet? Why isn't LeBron back yet? Why isn't LeBron back yet? Because his body and the representative, the people around him, were telling him, you can't come back until you are healthy.
So now we go, Kevin Durant being a couple days away from coming back to most likely missing all of next season. All right, we'll talk much more about this coming up. But did the Raptors miss their chance to take down the Golden State Warriors? We'll discuss that next on FS1. You can always check us out on the Fox Sports channel on SiriusXM. We'll be right back.